Drake learned the hard way that Kendrick Lamar is not someone to mess with because Kendrick might just be the most dangerous yet calculated rapper of all time. As if the embarrassment of his Drake diss track, Not Like Us, winning not one, not two, but 5 Grammys wasn't enough, Kendrick took it a step further by performing the song at the Super Bowl. But that wasn't even the worst part. He also brought Serena Williams on stage to hit the signature dance while dissing Drake throughout his performance. I can tell you, the entire crowd was shook. But it looked like Drake wasn't having any of it because Kendrick just disrespected him on a whole new level by bringing his ex on stage. And just like that, it seemed like the fight had been reignited. Does this mean Drake is heading to the studio to drop another diss track? And, more importantly, how in the world did Kendrick convince Serena to join in on dissing Drake? Let's break it all down. First of all, it probably wasn't that hard for Kendrick to get Serena on board. Honestly, I wouldn't even be surprised if Serena was the one who asked Kendrick to let her join in, because she does not mess with Drake anymore. And let's not forget, this isn't even the first time she's danced to the song. Y'all remember the walk she did last year during her event? Yeah, this is just another level of disrespect for Drake, and the internet is going crazy over it.
I've learned anything this year is that none of us, not a single one of us, not even me, should ever pick a fight with Kendrick Lamar.
They not like us. They not like us. They not like us.
Hey! He will make your hometown not like you. The next time Drake sits courtside at a Raptors game, they're gonna Forrest Gump him. Sights taken.
Do y'all know that Serena Williams absolutely despises Drake now? But what exactly happened between them that made her so furious? Her appearance at the event had nothing to do with Kendrick Lamar or Drake. Yet she somehow managed to make a statement loud and clear. See, after their breakup, Drake just couldn't let go of his past relationship with Serena. Instead of moving on, he made it his personal mission to ruin her image as much as possible. And let's be real, Drake has a disturbing pattern of spiraling out of control whenever a woman rejects him. He doesn't just walk away, he spends years throwing shade at them. We've all seen it before. His obsession with Rihanna lasted for years, where he made crude remarks about her and even took shots at her new man. You'd think $AP Rocky would have gotten fed up with the drama, but he's never given Drake the attention he desperately wants since the breakup. But Drake's weird fixation on women in the industry didn't stop with Rihanna. Y'all remember that awkward mess with Halle Berry? For years, he openly crushed on her in interviews and on social media. But no matter how much he tried, Halle never acknowledged him because, well, she just wasn't interested. But instead of taking the hint, Drake kept making questionable comments about her, sometimes crossing the line into straight-up inappropriate territory. One of the most embarrassing moments, when Halle Berry announced her pregnancy, instead of being happy for her like a normal person, Drake took that moment to make a completely unnecessary and bizarre comment.
I seem to have a fixation with Halle Berry, but she's already
I do.
pregos and
Yeah. That was unfortunate, but
would you really have, like, let's say she wasn't?
yeah,
Would you seriously consider?
like being with her.
Yeah.
100%.
Drake didn't just randomly mention Halle Berry. He actually referenced her in multiple songs, but not in a flattering way. Instead, his lyrics came across as downright creepy and unsettling. One instance, in his verse on Mygo's Versus remix, he rapped about taking a famous woman somewhere paparazzi couldn't find her. But then, he took it a step further by saying, "No one can stop me from trying to conceive Halle Berry." If that doesn't sound disturbing, I don't know what does. It wasn't charming, it wasn't playful, it was just flat out weird. But things got even more bizarre when Drake decided to use a photo of Halle Berry as the cover art for his song, without her permission. And let's be clear, Halle Berry had never given him the slightest indication that she was interested in him. Yet, he was out here publicly fantasizing about her in a way that made it seem like he had some weird sense of entitlement over her. Then came the final straw, his song Slime You Out, featuring SCA from his album For All the Dogs. Instead of using a generic image or something actually relevant to the song, Drake chose a vintage photo of Halle Berry getting slimed at the 2012 Nickelodeon Kids' Choice Awards. Like, seriously, that's the best he could come up with.
No one is safe from the slime!
Drake had actually asked Halle Berry if he could use her picture, and she explicitly said no. So the fact that he still went ahead and did it, that was beyond disrespectful. But honestly, this was just Drake being Drake. And to no one's surprise, he pulled the same stunt on Serena Williams, which is exactly why she can't stand him. At this point, it's clear that Drake has a serious problem with women moving on. And not just moving on, thriving without him. Because Serena didn't just move on, she is happily married and has 2 kids. But what exactly did Drake do to her? Well, last year, he randomly dropped a 100 gigabytes stash of content on some mysterious website called 100gigs.org. And how did he announce it? Not through his main account, not through a press release, but through his not-so-secret burner Instagram account that he'd been sneakily updating for months. But this wasn't just some random collection of files. No, this was a goldmine. Fans got a rare look at Drake's creative process, with never-before-seen footage of him working on his biggest albums, like Take Care, Views, and Certified Lover Boy. And that wasn't even the biggest shocker. This stash also included unreleased tracks featuring artists like Latto, Young Thug, and 21 Savage. And if that wasn't enough, the collection also had exclusive behind-the-scenes photos of Drake with Jay-Z, Kanye West, Rihanna, and Cameron. Basically, a who's who of the industry. But here's where things get messy. Some people think this full 100 gigabytes data drop was just Drake's attempt to distract the world from his ugly feud with Kendrick Lamar. But if that was the plan, it backfired badly. Because buried deep in all that footage was something even more scandalous, a clip of Drake working on Too Good with Rihanna, casually revealing that the song was never actually finished. And if you thought this was just about Kendrick, think again. Because this was also about his other ex, Serena Williams. And the wildest part? Drake wasn't venting to a friend or an industry insider. He was casually telling his mom, Sandra, about it like it was nothing.
Up and coming relationships, everything's going to be very light. Not going to get like heavily into things.
No, I get heavy on a couple jokes, but this is more about me and Serena, so I
gathered that.
But I wanted to make a song.
But you don't want it to be
well, it's funny because when I make songs about women, I also make songs for them, so I know what kind of song to make. If I'm gonna talk about them, I'll at least do them the justice of making them a song that they like.
Yeah.
Okay? So I know Serena very well, and I know that.
Little history lesson. Back in 2010, rumors swirled that Drake and Serena Williams were an item. But just like Rihanna, Serena never actually claimed him. Instead, she kept things cute and unconfirmed while Drake acted like a lovesick puppy, chasing after her everywhere. Fast forward to today, and Serena is happily married to Reddit co-founder Alexis Ohanian. They've built a beautiful life together with their 2 daughters. And while most men would move on, Drake did what he always does. He got bitter and messy. For years, he was so obsessed with Serena that even GQ magazine called him Serena's most embarrassing groupie. And honestly, they weren't wrong. But the moment Serena and Alexis made it official, Drake's whole energy switched. Instead of handling it like a grown man, he went full petty mode. In his song, Middle of the Ocean from his Call of album with 21 Savage, he shaded Alexis, calling him Serena's groupie. As if Drake himself hadn't spent years embarrassing himself over her. And then, in classic Drake fashion, he tried to play it cool, saying, "Her loss." Then he threw in, "You and your spouse are a groupie, we don't have an issue. No boo, it's like you coming for sushi." Like, seriously. Drake really thought he did something here. But Alexis Ohanian, he clapped back in the classiest way possible. When he posted a picture of himself and his daughter, Olympia, at Serena's match, he added the perfect caption. "The reason I stay winning is because I'm relentless about being the absolute best at whatever I do, including being the best groupie for my wife and daughter." Woo! That's how you shut someone down with pure elegance. Meanwhile, Drake tried to bury his pettiness under a ton of random content, hoping no one would notice. But his fans, they caught on immediately. They quickly figured out that the clip of him talking to his mom, Sandra, about Serena was actually his subtle way of responding to her walking out on him at the ESPYs. But the real plot twist. Serena got her revenge at the Super Bowl. She walked in, did her thing, and looked completely unbothered, without even acknowledging him. Because true queens don't need to clap back, they just win. The craziest part? Serena Williams didn't even get paid for her Super Bowl appearance because, as everyone knows, Super Bowl performers don't get a paycheck. She didn't do it for the money. She did it out of pure spite for Drake. And guess what? Drake hated every second of it. Turns out he wasn't thrilled about Kendrick Lamar and Serena making this bold move. And how do we know? Because Drake, being Drake, just couldn't let it go. Right after the Super Bowl at his concert in Melbourne, he changed the lyrics to his song Knife Talk, a clear shot at the situation. Like, he really thought this was his comeback moment. But honestly, at this point, Drake's pettiness is just getting embarrassing. Beef is live, spoiler alert, I never die. Yeah, Drake is saw the AF over this, and who can blame him? Kendrick and Serena did him dirty, fans commented. Kendrick bringing out Serena Williams to walk after Drake stalked that woman publicly for years and obsessively threw shots at her for turning him down is so wow, that man is the definition of chaotic good. Okay, I lied. Serena Williams doing a walk on Drake's tomb was the best thing I've ever seen, and Drake and stowed Serena Williams for years. This is her retribution, this is her piece. Now it's your turn. Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Did Kendrick go too far by bringing Serena into this, or was it the perfect move? And don't go anywhere. Watch this next video for even more drama.